The series begins with Mireille, a webtoon producer, returning home after a very busy day. As soon as she reaches home, she finally feels calm and relaxed. While resting, she starts thinking about her whole day and realizes she only gets about 3 hours for herself, and that is the only time she can watch movies and enjoy herself. For her, the best kind of day is when there are no plans and no work. The next day, we see Mireille going to work, but she does not look very happy about it. While traveling on the metro, she falls asleep and dreams that she is standing on a beautiful beach. But the dream suddenly breaks because of a child sitting next to her in the metro. She also notices that the child has made her suit dirty, but she does not say anything to him. When she reaches the office building and tries to clean her dress in the lift, she meets another producer named Nam. Their meeting is very short. As soon as Nam enters the office with her, Mireille is surprised to see that everyone there is congratulating someone. When Mireille asks about the celebration, she finds out that Nam has signed a big deal, and because of that, the company is giving dinner to everyone. But Mireille refuses to go. During this time, a co-worker named Yoon starts praising Nam again and again, but Mireille quickly scolds her. Just then, feedback from Nam appears on Mireille's computer screen. In the feedback, he points out all her weaknesses, but there is not even a single word about her strengths. Mireille looks toward Nam, and at the same moment, another employee named Mr. Chu comes out of the boss's office while arguing loudly. He angrily announces that he is quitting his job. Even though the other employees try to calm him down, he leaves in anger. Nam does not react to any of this and continues working as if nothing happened. Soon after, Mireille receives a message on her phone from her friend Ji-Yain, who asks her to come and meet her. When Mireille goes to meet Ji-Yain, she finds out that Ji-Yain actually called her to help choose a dress for one of their classmates' weddings. Even though Mireille is a bit reluctant, she still agrees and buys a dress. Ji-Yain then tells her that she should get a boyfriend, but Mireille explains that her life is already very busy and she cannot waste time with an immature guy. Ji-Yain suggests that she should find someone similar to herself. For a moment, Mireille thinks about Nam, but she quickly pushes that thought away. Back at the office, people are talking about who will become the new team leader after Mr. Chu leaves. When Mireille hears this, she becomes surprised because her name is also being discussed. However, another employee says that Nam's performance is better than Mireille's, so he has a higher chance of getting the role. Mireille is not in favor of taking this responsibility. While sitting in the office, she imagines herself in the role of team leader and realizes how terrifying it feels. She decides to go and meet the director. When she arrives, she has brought cookies with her, but she sees that Nam has already brought cookies and coffee for the director. The director asks her to sit down and then asks both of them who they think should become the team leader. Mireille happily points toward Nam, but he interrupts and says that he thinks Mireille can manage the writers better. This starts an argument between them. Mireille reminds him that in his recent feedback, he did not mention a single strength of hers. After hearing their argument, the director tells them to stop and then decides to give the whole responsibility to Mireille. Hearing this makes her very worried, while Nam calmly leaves the room. Mireille returns to her cabin where her co-workers try to encourage her. At that moment, she remembers that in the past, she had worked with Miss Yun, who was very clingy. Because of that situation, Mireille's relationship with Sejun had also ended. In the next scene, Mireille meets Ji-Yain and some other classmates at a mutual friend's wedding. When Ji-Yain asks her why she did not wear the dress she bought, Mireille explains that this is not a good time for her. During the wedding, she sees Sejun's girlfriend Yumi, who looks very pretty. When Mireille notices the diamond ring on her hand, she becomes sad. She feels like Sejun is showing off his engagement, even without being there. After returning home, Mireille starts remembering the time she spent with Sejun. She recalls how whenever he talked about the future, he always said "L" instead of "we." To make herself feel better, Mireille goes out for a walk. At that moment, she receives a message from Miss Yun saying that she wants to meet her the next day, which makes Mireille's mood even worse. She then looks up Miss Yun's song online and checks her stories and work, which are mostly about romance. There are also many reader comments, and most of them are negative. Many readers even call Yoon unprofessional in the comment section. Seeing all this makes Mireille more worried. The next day in the office, she sees Kyungnam and quietly calls him selfish in her mind. Kyungnam asks her when she plans to get up from the relaxed chair. Before getting up, Mireille secretly places something on the chair, and when Kyungnam sits on it, he jumps up with a shout. He quickly realizes that Mireille did this on purpose. Soon, Mireille finds out that Kyungnam has to hand over Miss Yun's work to her. She remembers the prank she just played, but she has no choice except to go and talk to him. When she approaches him, Kyungnam first makes her realize her mistake and then starts briefing her about Yun's work. He explains that the reviews are not good, but the sales are still steady, and he also gives her a timeline that she must follow. Meanwhile, Mireille keeps complaining about him quietly in her mind. At the office, Mireille is going with her colleagues for lunch break when the lift doors open and everyone becomes surprised because Miss Yoon is standing right in front of them. Yun invites Mireille to have lunch together and takes her along. While eating, Yun asks if Mireille feels uncomfortable working with her again, but Mireille quickly replies that she does not feel that way at all. In her mind, Mireille thinks that even after 3 years, Yun has not changed and still seems a bit clueless. Mireille gives some suggestions about Yun's story, but Yun explains that readers often complain because they want her to keep writing the same kind of content. She also tells Mireille that they can work together again, just like in the old days. Hearing this brings back many uncomfortable memories for Mireille. Just then, the director enters the room and introduces someone to both of them. It is Minjun Young. He starts talking about a dating app that his company has recently launched. The app is called Boyfriend on Demand, and when Mireille hears the name, she cannot help but laugh. Jun Young says that he really likes the main male character from Yoon's story. Mireille then suggests that instead of only focusing on the main lead, they could also consider the second male lead. She explains her reasons for this idea, and everyone in the room likes the suggestion. The director also becomes very pleased with the discussion. After the meeting, Min Jun asks Mireille to talk with him for a moment. He tells her that he wants her to use the dating app and give reviews about it. In the app, she will have to write about the likes and dislikes of the people she goes on dates with. Jun explains that she will also be paid for giving these reviews. In the next scene, Mireille opens the simulation called Boyfriend on Demand. She is quite impressed by its packaging. After syncing her phone with the device, she places a ring-like headset on her head. As soon as the ring becomes active, she suddenly faints and finds herself standing on a beautiful beach. Far away in the sea, she notices someone walking toward her. Just then, a huge wave rises from the water and pulls her into the sea. Under the water, she sees many fish around her and becomes surprised when she realizes that she can breathe underwater. At that moment, she sees the same boy she noticed earlier. He lifts her and brings her out of the water. Mireille then realizes that he looks exactly like Choi Si-woo, the character from Miss Yun's story. Just then, a voice from the device says, "Congratulations, Mireille, on meeting your first date." Si-woo opens his eyes and gently holds Mireille's hand, and with this, the first episode comes to an end. Episode 2 begins with Mireille finding herself in another strange place. Around her, there are many large capsules, and inside them, she can see pictures of different people. Soon, her attention goes to one capsule that has the picture of a woman on it and the word manager written above it. As Mireille walks closer, the woman suddenly stretches her hand out of the capsule and places it on Mireille's shoulder. Mireille gets scared and screams in shock. The woman calmly says, "So, shall we begin?" Mireille asks her who she is and whether she is a real person. The woman replies that she is Mireille's daily manager and tells her to think of her as a friend. Mireille then looks around and asks where this place is and what all these capsules are. The manager says to wait for a moment. She types something on the table in front of her and a small box appears. Inside the box there is a ring. The manager gives the ring to Mireille and explains that everyone who comes here receives this ring. She tells her that as long as she wears it, she will stay locked in this world, and once she removes it, she will be locked out. Mireille says that this means it is a fake world that feels like the real one, but she wants to know if she is still safe in the real world. The manager tells her that everything is fine, and that in the real world she is simply lying on her sofa in a strange position. After hearing this, Mireille wears the ring. The manager then tells her that it is time for her to go. Mireille asks where she has to go. The manager snaps her fingers and suddenly everything around them starts spinning. She then calls the middle capsule and asks Mireille to step inside it. Feeling nervous, Mireille slowly moves forward. The manager blows gently from behind and Mireille is pushed into the capsule. A moment later, Mireille finds herself back at the same beach location. In front of her, a boy is lying unconscious. She tries to wake him up, but suddenly the boy grabs her hand and asks who she is. Mireille becomes nervous and does not know what to do. Then she remembers what the manager said and quickly removes the ring. Instantly, she returns to the real world. As soon as she wakes up, she checks her hands and feet to make sure everything is normal. After that, she starts searching online about the Boyfriend on Demand app and says that she has to admit Mr. Min has created something truly amazing. The next day at the office, Mireille is still thinking about the app while working. Suddenly, the person from the dating app appears behind her. She is startled at first, but then realizes it is just a cutout. Her colleague tells her that producer Cho has asked her to keep it with her. Mireille agrees and says to just leave it there. She then starts staring at the poster. Meanwhile, the director calls Kyung-nam into the office and informs him that the comic book will be released on Friday. Kyung-nam points out that it might not be a good idea because a famous writer's comic is also being released on the same day. The director does not change his mind. As Kyung-nam leaves, he asks if Mireille knows about this, and the director replies that she does not and that Kyung-nam should not tell her either, otherwise she would take over the office. Mireille looked at the poster and thought that it felt like he was looking right at her, but she reminded herself it was just a cutout, not real. Kyung-nam noticed her staring at it. Later, on her way home, Mireille saw the same poster again on the metro line. She still could not find a seat. A girl nearby was reading the same comic on her phone, and posters of the hero were plastered all over the metro walls. When she reached home, Mireille put on the ring again and activated the app. This time, she found herself in a hotel. Her clothes had changed, and a name tag was attached to them. She realized that she was now the webtoon heroine. She held a file labeled Approval Request, General Manager. When she entered the office, she saw a name tag with her name on the desk. Suddenly, a boy appeared behind her and angrily said that an ordinary girl working there was sitting at his desk and demanded how she dared to do it. Mireille tried to respond, but he shouted for her to leave immediately. Confused, she started walking away and muttered that he was a jerk. Her words reached his ears, and he stopped her. The boy asked if they had met before, and Mireille smiled, saying yes. He replied that he had finally found her and reminded her that she had saved his life that day. Mireille wondered what was happening all of a sudden as he began speaking in dramatic, filmy lines. She made a funny face in real life, thinking how cringe the hero was, and finally, annoyed, removed the ring and returned to the real world. The next day at the office, Mireille saw the cutout again and remembered the same lines, muttering that he was a terrible person, and turned the cutout's face toward the wall. A colleague mentioned that the new show by the famous writer Hwani was also being released on Friday. Mireille angrily asked the director why she wasn't told earlier, and he replied that he trusted her. She then went to the writer, saying they had to win the competition. The writer was ready to give up, but Mireille motivated her, and together they brainstormed a new story idea, working all night to finalize a fresh concept. Later, Mireille put on the ring again and tried new dating scenes with the story's hero: luxury dinners, shopping, expensive gifts, and romantic moments. But when the hero tried to give her the ring, a system error appeared, and she learned that a character could only be dated for 50 hours. Her dream remained unfinished, and she woke up in real life crying. At the office, she was lost in thought, thinking about Sai-woo, and posted reviews of her date with him on the app. Jun-young praised her reviews and advised her on how to use the remaining characters and hours. Later, Mireille decided to try the app again. The manager sent her back into the virtual world where everything was pink, and she met a new boy who would become her new boyfriend. The story continues with Mireille meeting her new date. They get lost in each other's eyes, but suddenly a girl appears and asks what he is doing there. The boy apologizes to Mireille, saying she looked exactly like someone else from behind. The girl then takes him away. Mireille is surprised and wonders why he is leaving, feeling sad. Just then, a girl calls out Mireille's name. The system shows that her name is Susie, and that she is Mireille's school friend. Susie says the campus is so big that she got lost, then takes Mireille's hand and says they are going to explore the campus. Mireille sees a board that says Freshman Welcome and happily wonders if this is her first year of college. After a while, two boys come near them and start joking. One of them makes strange gestures while dancing, and Mireille thinks to herself that she wants to hit him. She and Susie ignore them and keep walking. Around the campus, there are different stalls, and at one place, a long line has formed. Susie explains that everyone is standing in line to get tickets for the Kumdo Club match. When Mireille checked her pocket, she found that she already had 2 tickets. Susie was surprised, took the tickets, and asked where she had got them from. The 2 of them happily ran toward the stadium. At the stadium, a boy dressed in black entered, and all the girls screamed loudly that he would win. The match began, and within a few minutes the boy in black won. When he removed his mask, Mireille was shocked because it was the same boy she had met first. They kept looking at each other, and just then a system notification appeared saying that she was meeting her second date. Mireille happily said that she knew it was him. Later, Mireille and Susie filled out forms to join the club. A girl told them that most girls joined the club just because of the boy, Yoon-ho. She explained that he was the most popular boy in college and also an architecture student. Mireille thought to herself that the boy all the girls liked would fall for her. Everyone was then called to the training room. The club president told them to practice sword fighting. Suddenly, Mireille raised her hand, and she was called forward. Yoon-ho was made her partner for practice. He taught her how to hold the sword and take a proper stance, but when Mireille attacked for the first time, in the blink of an eye, her sword reached Yoon-ho's head. Everyone was left shocked. Yoon-ho told Mireille that she was a very good athlete. Then they had a practice fight. Yoon-ho attacked with full strength, but Mireille easily blocked him. Everyone clapped and some girls got jealous, saying that Yoon-ho was letting her win on purpose. But Yoon-ho said she was really a good fighter. After practice, Mireille followed him and asked where he was going. He said he was going to the library. Mireille invited him to lunch, but he refused and said they should get to know each other first. Just then, the club president arrived and took Yoon-ho to lunch, leaving Mireille feeling sad. She complained to the manager, asking why Yoon-ho was not interested in her. The manager laughed and said that she should not expect all 900 boys to fall for her at once, and explained that even in this world, relationships take time to develop. Mireille thought for a moment and, to save time, removed the ring. The next day, Mireille returned to the virtual world and tried to impress Yoon-ho. She sat next to him in class, tried to talk to him, and made small playful gestures, but Yoon-ho did not react much. Mireille realized that she would have to work hard to win him over. Later, they practiced sword training again, and once more Mireille overpowered him, leaving Yoon-ho surprised. At a party, Mireille was making drinks when Yoon-ho arrived. She boldly told him in front of everyone that she liked him. Yoon-ho replied that they did not know each other well yet. That night, they walked together in the rain. Mireille talked with him, and gradually they grew closer. Under a shelter, Yoon-ho said that the girl was not his girlfriend, which gave Mireille hope. From the next day, Mireille and Yoon-ho spent more time together, studying, practicing, and working on projects. Their friendship deepened, and Mireille started getting used to the virtual world, enjoying it even more than real life. At the end of the episode, during a school trip, Mireille and Yoon-ho were alone near the jungle, enjoying a beautiful view. Mireille asked something she had not planned to say. If he married someone else, would he forget her? Yoon-ho looked at her calmly and said that people do not lose their memories when they marry, and that he would remember everything. She asked how he would remember her, at the beginning or the end. Yoon-ho turned fully toward her and said he would remember everything from the beginning to the end. Mireille grew quiet, then nodded slightly and said that would do. As soon as a romantic scene started between them, everything changed. A system message appeared in front of Mireille. "Miss Mireille, your 1-month free trial of Boyfriend on Demand has ended." Mireille froze when she saw it and immediately panicked, telling the system it should not be like this. At the same time, Mireille woke up back in the real world, sitting alone in silence. For a moment, she softly called Yoon-ho's name, even though she knew he was gone. 1 month later, Mireille had returned to her normal life and work. Things were going well at Nemo, and the company's web novels were still performing strongly. During a team meeting, the director announced that this year's annual writing contest would be organized differently. Instead of teams choosing their genres, the director would personally assign them. Then he announced the romantic category. Mireille and Kyung-nam were assigned together. When they heard their names, they briefly glanced at each other and then quickly looked away. After the meeting, the team went out for dinner and drinks. One of the colleagues suddenly suggested setting Mireille up on a blind date, even showing a picture of a young, handsome guy. The others got excited and encouraged Mireille, but she politely refused. Just then, Kyung-nam asked, "But aren't you already seeing someone?" Mireille quickly explained that it had only been a brief meeting with someone earlier and was not a relationship. After dinner, Mireille and Kyung-nam ended up walking together while looking for taxis. During the walk, Kyung-nam told Mireille that he was actually looking forward to judging the romantic contest with her. Mireille asked if he already knew they would be paired together. Kyung-nam told Mireille that he didn't know either. Soon, 2 taxis arrived at the end of the street. Kyung-nam told her to take the first one. Mireille got inside and gave the driver her address in Yongan, but the driver casually said he was only going to Incheon. Before she could react, the taxi started moving. Later that night, Jun called her and reminded Mireille about Daeong's housewarming party the next day. He warned her not to forget. The next morning, Mireille went out to buy a housewarming gift and noticed a huge crowd. At first, she thought it might be a celebrity event, but when she looked closer, she saw a sign in the window, "Boyfriend on Demand Pop-Up Store." Min Young suddenly spotted Mireille in the crowd and quickly came outside to greet her. He warmly offered to show her around the store, but Mireille said she was only passing by. Then he asked if she had been enjoying the Boyfriend on Demand app. Mireille honestly replied that she had actually stopped using it after the free trial ended. Min Young looked genuinely surprised. He reminded her that her review had sounded very positive and that he had even given her the device as a gift, so he assumed she would definitely subscribe. Mireille thanked him for the gift but explained that real life had just been too busy lately. Later, Gian called Mireille again, and this time she sounded nervous. She admitted that there would be one more guest at Dong's house that day, a guy Dang knew. In other words, they had secretly planned a blind date for Mireille. Mireille simply replied, "You did well." Soon the housewarming party began. The blind date guy, Moo, was already there and took good care of her. Then the group started playing drinking games, and the atmosphere became louder and more relaxed. Mireille surprisingly won almost every round, making everyone laugh. Later that night, after the party ended, Moo walked Mireille outside. He told her he had a really great time and mentioned that she seemed a bit introverted, but she had made him feel very comfortable. He said she was kind and even cute. Then he asked Mireille what she thought of him. She politely replied that she had also enjoyed the evening. He asked her to meet him again, but she flatly refused. After saying goodnight, Mireille turned and walked away alone. Then she tried to call a taxi, but none were available nearby. She checked her phone again and again, but still nothing appeared. At the same time, she remembered her boyfriend from the virtual world and felt happy thinking about him, even though he was not real. Later at home, she could not decide whether to take the virtual world subscription or not. She kept questioning herself, comparing real dating with the virtual service. When she dated in real life, had she ever spent less than 500,000 a month? Probably not. Between meals, gifts, and occasional trips, the cost always went well beyond that. Similarly, Mireille asked herself many questions, but the most important one was the last. Does Boyfriend on Demand actually make her happier? After a short pause, she quietly answered yes. She looked at the subscription screen on her phone. The basic plan cost 500,000 per month. After thinking about everything, she asked herself one final question. If that was true, was there really any reason not to use the app? Without hesitating, she pressed the button. Payment complete. Soon after, Mireille put the device ring on her head and pressed the activation button. When she opened her eyes again, she found herself inside a beautiful luxury apartment. For a moment, she just looked around in amazement. The place was spacious, stylish, and filled with soft lighting. It almost felt like a high-end hotel. Just then, Uni appeared behind her, greeting her casually. Mireille jumped in surprise, but quickly asked if Uni still remembered her, wondering if the system had reset her memory. Uni looked slightly offended and asked if Mireille thought she was an idiot. She explained that the apartment was now Mireille's personal house inside the Boyfriend on Demand world. Any special items she had previously received, like the dress from Choi Woo, would stay there, while everything else would be updated with new items every month. Mireille slowly walked through the apartment, clearly impressed by how luxurious it was. After the tour, Uni showed Mireille the balcony view. From there, the entire city stretched out beautifully in every direction. Before starting a new date, Mireille asked Uni for a favor. She explained that her last moment with Yoonho had ended at a crucial point, and she wanted to continue from that exact scene to meet him again. But Uni immediately shook her head, saying it was not possible. Mireille looked shocked and asked why. Uni calmly explained that choosing a specific person directly was only possible with a premium plan, which cost 1 million per month. The basic plan Mireille had subscribed to only allowed the system to randomly match partners for her. Mireille was stunned by the price and complained that it was ridiculous. Uni simply shrugged and told her not to overthink it. She reminded Mireille that besides Yoon-ho and Choi Woo, there were still hundreds of other men available in the system. Uni smiled and told her to go enjoy her new experience. Just like that, Mireille prepared to start her next virtual date. She woke up inside a virtual date scenario, wearing a flight attendant uniform on a commercial airplane. Suddenly, the flight became dangerous. A passenger pulled out a gun and the plane shook. An agent named Bae Hyen Woo was already handling the emergency. The system congratulated Mireille for starting her third date. She looked around at the chaos and joked about the production quality of the paid version. Then, frightened by the dangerous situation, she logged out of the date. The next scenario loaded, and Mireille found herself as an intern in a hospital, where a senior doctor shouted at her in the corridor. He was hot-tempered and frustrated, but then suddenly confessed that he had liked her for a week and was growing impatient for her response, dramatically declaring, "The person I want to go to Paradise Island with is Mireille." The scene then shifted to a courtroom where a prosecutor asked a judge, "Are you busy tonight?" And the judge calmly replied, "Here, love stands above the law." In the next scene, Mireille was a famous actress who fell in love with her bodyguard, enjoying another date in Boyfriend on Demand, and looking very happy. A scene from an idol show appeared featuring Jay Park, followed by a secret date invitation with him, which Mireille accepted without hesitation. In the real world, Mireille and Kyung-nam were at a coffee shop, where she noticed he had bought only one coffee instead of his usual 2. He calmly explained he didn't need the extra one today, offering no further explanation. Later, a problem came up at work when a writer sent the episode file at the last minute. Mireille uploaded it, and when she checked the comments section, she saw that the internet was reacting strongly to a typo. In the new episode, a romantic line from Choi that was supposed to say, "Sorry to bother you, but I will take this woman," caused a stir. Mireille then sent a quiet message to Yoon Song saying, "From now on, please send the file before 7 p.m. every time. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. I want to die of embarrassment." Yoon Song read it and got angry, thinking about why she was scolding him so early. He argued back in the comments, shouting and mocking the critics pretending to be language experts. After that, Mireille logged into the app again, and a new virtual scenario started. She looked around and heard a familiar voice. It was Yoon-ho, standing there looking older, almost 10 years older, as if he had remembered her for a long time. He asked if it was really her, and said it had been so long. The screen displayed "Spring and You," and then "To be continued." Mireille stared at the words, realizing it was probably a trick to make her extend the subscription, but seeing him made her fall for it again. She looked at him and said he had changed a lot. He replied that she had changed too, adding softly that 10 years was a long time, but she still looked very nice. Mireille smiled, and the chapter ended with a note telling viewers that if they wanted to see the next part, they should comment. Mireille met Yoon-ho and asked him what he was doing these days. He told her that he had graduated and started his own company. Then he asked why she had suddenly left, and Mireille thought for a moment and said that life had become complicated. Yoon-ho asked what she was doing now, and she told him she was a webtoon producer. At that moment, a card with her company's name appeared in her hand, and she gave it to Yoon-ho. Seeing it, he was very impressed. Mireille felt happy because, out of all the virtual dates, this was the first one that felt so close to real life. They both smiled at each other while walking, and Mireille told him she was hungry. She invited him for dinner, which he accepted. At that moment, she returned to the real world and felt very happy thinking about everything she had experienced. While she was enjoying the feeling, her phone rang from an unknown number. When she answered, she realized it was Yoon-ho, the person she had met virtually. Looking at the app's manual, she understood that subscribers could still call or message each other even after logging out. She started talking to Yoon-ho on the phone. He invited her to a movie, and she agreed. Suddenly, she began to feel his presence around her in the real world, which left her surprised. Yoon-ho asked if this was a date, and she smiled and said yes. The next day, Mireille arrived at the office a little late, and Kyungnam and all the employees were waiting for her. At that time, he got into an argument with her over a story character. Mireille thought that Kyungnam's attitude was the same as always. Meanwhile, Kyungnam went to get coffee, and Mireille's phone rang. She saw a message from Yoon-ho and felt happy that a guy was showing interest in her after a long time. Later, Mireille tried to have lunch with the other employees, but everyone was busy, so she ended up having lunch with Kyungnam. The situation felt very awkward for her. Suddenly, Kyungnam asked if she liked romance, since they were working on a project in that genre. Mireille replied that she didn't like romance, and Kyungnam teased her. She thought to herself that he didn't really care. Then he asked what she liked, and she said horror. Kyungnam said he liked horror-based stories too. He asked how her work on the Man to Know story was going, and Mireille said it was going well, thinking that she was doing it only because of him. Later, Mireille met Yoon-ho for dinner, and after that they had many sweet and pleasant meetings. Mireille felt butterflies in her heart and thought that it all felt like a movie. One day she went to Yoon-ho's firm, which was empty but very impressive. There, she saw a college picture of herself with him. Yoon-ho said he could never forget her and took her to the rooftop, where they got even closer. He asked if she would ever leave him again, and she promised never to. Later, Mireille was happily texting Yoon-ho on the metro, smiling to herself. At the office, everyone noticed that Mireille seemed happier now. Kyungnam saw her bright expression and asked what was going on, because Mireille's attention wasn't on him. In the next scene, Mireille met Yoon-ho again. Each day they were getting closer and closer, and just as Yoon-ho was about to kiss her, Mireille woke up in real life. Later, she was with her friend Ji-yeon, who had just gone through a breakup. Mireille encouraged her, and Ji-yeon said that she had dated 30 boyfriends and was still single. She joked that it was better than having a life like Mireille's. Ji-yeon also said that the idea of soulmates was a lie. Mireille remembered this and asked Yoon-ho over the phone if he believed in soulmates. He said he didn't know, but gave her a hint that he might be her soulmate. Mireille wondered if she had really found her perfect Prince Charming. Then she asked Yoon-ho how he felt spending time with her. He assured her that he loved every moment he spent with her and everything about her. Mireille blushed and thought maybe her friend had just met the wrong guys all along. In the next scene, Mireille was having lunch with her office colleagues, and surprisingly, Kyungnam had joined them, too. One colleague asked if Mireille was going to the workshop, which she really did not want to attend, but she imagined how angry Director Hwang could get, remembering that he always held grudges. Everyone recalled that Kyungnam had skipped the workshop last year, so they were surprised to see him going this time because his family lived near the workshop location. The next day, all the team members reached the workshop. Before starting work, they participated in a contest that turned into a small battle between Kyungnam and Mireille, and Kyungnam won. Later, while filming a video, one colleague accidentally dropped their phone in the water. No one dared to go in except Kyungnam, who retrieved the phone and returned it, impressing everyone again. The team enjoyed the rest of the day together, singing songs and drinking. Kyungnam got drunk, acting strange, and Mireille helped him get water. Dongmin then took Kyungnam to sleep, and Mireille sang as well, though Kyungnam returned later, irritated because he didn't like the voice. Late at night, Mireille noticed Yoon-jo, who liked Kyungnam, but the drunk Kyungnam was unaware of what was happening. Mireille thought office romances really did not work. The next day, the team decided to return, and Yoon-jo, Dongmin, and Mireille rode with Kyungnam. Later, Mireille and Kyungnam were alone. He offered to drop her home and told her that the director was worried because sales for that story had dropped, and he was even considering replacing Miss Yoon. Mireille was shocked to hear this from him. As she was about to get off, she asked if he was holding back more information. Confidently, Kyungnam admitted that he liked her. Mireille asked again to make sure she heard right, and he confirmed it, even asking her out on a date. They then went their separate ways. After hearing everything, Mireille got lost in thought. She wondered if Kyungnam was doing all this for her own good. She also thought he might want her and Yoon-ho to go on a date together. When she reminded Yoon-ho of the scene from that night, she realized that Kyungnam had no interest in Yoon-ho. Mireille sighed, thinking that maybe he really did not like her. At that moment, Kyungnam arrived at the office, and both Mireille and Yoon-ho acted a little strangely around him, trying to get his attention. Later, Mireille had to attend an office meeting with Kyungnam, but she kept thinking about the one line he had said, that he liked her. Kyungnam told her she could not avoid him forever. Meanwhile, her phone rang, and he told her she could tell him if she was seeing someone else. She quietly replied that she was, but wanted to keep it private. Kyungnam just said, "Sure." Mireille took his calm response as his attitude, but reminded herself that she did have her own guy. The next day, Yoonho and Mireille went skating and had fun with others. Yoonho was very impressed by Mireille's skating skills. Mireille mentioned that a guy at work liked her, but Yoonho said, "You are still talking about him even when you are with me." Mireille was at a hair salon with her friend when she overheard some girls talking about Yoonho, their college senior. They were reading a book that had reviews from multiple women sharing how Yoonho had made them feel. As Mireille read through the reviews, she remembered everything that had happened between her and Yoonho and could relate to their experiences. Reading all of this upset her. Later, back at home, she went about her daily chores and then returned to the virtual world, where she met Yoonho again. She did not talk much. Yoonho asked if everything was okay, and she said yes. But when he tried to get closer, she said, "I'm sorry, I can't buy this virtual fantasy anymore." The scene then shifted to the manager of the app. The manager asked why she was quitting. Mireille explained that the app had set her up with Yoonho, who was dating other women, and out of curiosity asked how many. The manager revealed he was dating almost 2,430 women, shocking Mireille, who called him a player. The manager then explained that these problems happened because she was using the basic plan. If she upgraded, she could have someone like Gu Young-ik only for her, and even sent her a questionnaire to choose the type of boyfriend she wanted. She also checked the reviews for this service, which were mostly positive. Finally, she was ready to experience her next date with Young. She was seen on the road alone in a car when a ribbon on her neck flew off in the wind. That's when she met Young and was shocked to see that he looked exactly like Kyungnam. Surprised, she quickly takes off the ring and contacts the manager, telling her that she cannot date him. The manager explains that the app paired her with Young based on her preferences and asks her to give it a chance. Mireille refuses to listen. The manager also tells her that the 901 service can only be created once and that there are no returns. Mireille wakes up in the real world and searches the manual for a solution. She tries to call the app's service, but it is unavailable at that time. The next day in the office, she meets Kyungnam and finds herself staring at his features, admitting silently that he is indeed handsome. Kyungnam notices her strange behavior and asks why she is staring, but Mireille struggles to answer. Later, she meets her friend who desperately wants a boyfriend and asks Mireille to set her up with one of their office colleagues. After scrolling through the phone, they find that everyone is already taken. Frustrated, Mireille decides to return to the virtual dating world and give her date with Young a chance. The scene shifts back to the virtual world where Mireille's car engine breaks down and Young offers to drive her. She agrees and actually enjoys the ride, meeting a stranger and going to an unknown location. She feels happy and perfect in the moment. Young then takes her to a bar where the bartender serves cold drinks. She tells Young about her recent breakup because he was not loyal. After that, he brings her to his hotel and guides her to the women's section. When she enters the room, a woman grabs her leg and she shouts, but then calms down when she realizes it is Suji, one of her friends. The system introduces Suji as Yura, a rude Korean tourist, but Mireille tries to adjust. Later at the dinner table, she asks Young what he does, and he says he is an artist. Mireille is shocked because in high school, she used to idealize a man exactly like him. She wonders if the app was able to create a date that perfectly matches her dream man. Back in the office, Mireille meets Kyungnam casually. She learns that some of her colleagues and their friends also use the Boyfriend on Demand app. Trying to act innocent, she asks if it really works, but she is told that the subscription is expensive and has other limitations. She looks back at Kyungnam and thinks that he is completely different from Young. The scene then shifts to Mireille and Young on the beach, enjoying each other's company and sharing cute moments. Mireille notices his art book and wonders why he always draws couples. Young explains that he loves drawing couples who love each other freely and fearlessly. Later, they take a walk in the jungle at night. Young jokes that they might get lost, mentioning a famous story about a couple who disappeared there. Mireille panics, remembering that it was her own app profile that said she liked horror stories, which is why the app introduced this situation. Suddenly, Young opens Mireille's palm and a golden bee flies up. More golden bees appear all around them, and the scary jungle transforms into a magical scene. At this moment, Mirai wakes up in real life and notices her heart beating fast. Next, Mirai is in the office lift with Kyung-nam and other employees. As they enter the office, the director calls them both to his cabin and asks Mirai if she heard back from Miss Yun. Mirai had forgotten to inform the director that Miss Yun did not respond, which makes him angry. He orders both Mirai and Kyung-nam to attend an awards event together. Outside the cabin, Kyung-nam tells Mirai that he knows she is not comfortable around him, but since he was the one rejected, she should try to behave better. Mirai then calls Miss Yun to inform her about the director's decision. Miss Yun becomes furious when she learns she has been replaced by Mr. Hwani. She shouts at Mirai and hangs up. Later, Mirai is with her friend, who is complaining about her own failed dates. The friend teases Mirai, saying she must have a crush on Kyung-nam because she always talks about him. Mirai surprises her by saying that Kyung-nam actually likes her. Her friend gets upset for not being informed. Mirai shows her a picture of Kyung-nam, and her friend comments that he is not her type. The scene shifts to the BCF Awards. Mirai and Kyung-nam meet again. Miss Yun wins the Popularity Award for her work, and Mr. Hwani wins the Best Award. Mirai tries to convince Miss Yun to congratulate Hwani, but Miss Yun argues and pushes her, accidentally bumping into Kyung-nam. Kyung-nam asks Miss Yun to go inside. Later, the team celebrates at the after-party, but Miss Yun's attitude causes more arguments and less enjoyment. Miss Yun thinks Hwani was sending her gifts secretly, and because she refused, he took revenge, but he explains the gifts were for his assistant. Miss Yun feels ashamed, but covers it up by claiming she has a boyfriend. Later, Mirai takes Miss Yun to her room. Drunk, Miss Yun falls asleep. Mirai receives a call and learns that Miss Yun actually does have a boyfriend. Soon, Young calls, saying he wants to meet her on the beach. She says it's not possible but is shocked when Young suddenly appears in front of her in the real world. She places her hands on his cheeks but then realizes it was just a dream. The next episode begins with Kyung-nam remembering several past moments in which many coincidences seem to connect him and Mirai. In those memories, Mirai believed she was seeing Young in a dream, but in reality it was actually Kyung-nam. When he sees her, he asks what she is doing there. Mirai is shocked when she realizes that the person in front of her is Kyung-nam and not Young. She quickly says she only came outside for some fresh air. Seeing that she is a little drunk, Kyung-nam offers to walk her back to her hotel room, and she agrees. Later, Kyung-nam remembers a conversation he overheard earlier when Miss Yun was talking to Mirai about dating. Miss Yun had advised Mirai to start dating again. Hearing this made Kyung-nam wonder why Mirai told him she already had a boyfriend if she was actually single. Back in his room, he keeps thinking about these things and tries to understand the situation. The next morning, Miss Yun knocks on Mirai's hotel room door and tells her that it is time for them to leave. On the way back, Mirai casually tells Miss Yun that she spoke to her boyfriend on the phone the previous night and that he sounded like a nice person. Miss Yun becomes angry after hearing this because Mirai answered her boyfriend's call without permission. Mirai finally returns home and soon receives a call from Young, who asks her to meet him. She enters the virtual world again through the app. There, Mirai asks Young when he plans to leave this place. Young replies that he wants to go on another ride with her if she is ready. The two of them travel through different adventurous places and seem to have a lot of fun together. In Mirai's imagination, Young even gives her a ring and gently kisses her on the forehead. But suddenly, the scene returns to reality inside the virtual space, where Young is only asking if she would like to go on a ride with him. As she looks at him, Mirai keeps seeing Kyung-nam's face instead of Young's. This confuses her, and she starts wondering which one is the real person she should trust. Feeling overwhelmed, she removes the ring and wakes up in the real world, thinking about why she keeps mixing the two of them. Back at the office, Mirai notices that Kyung-nam is ignoring her. She observes that he is busy talking to other colleagues, but he completely avoids speaking to her. Later, Mirai goes to a cafe to meet her friend. While she is there, she notices one of Kyung-nam's friends who has also come to meet him. Feeling confident, she walks forward in that direction but accidentally bumps into a transparent glass wall, which leaves her a little embarrassed. Soon she learns that her friend will be late, so she decides to leave the cafe. When her friend finally meets her, she notices the mark on Mirai's forehead and jokingly asks if she got it during a fight. As they walk away together, her friend suggests that she use clip bangs to hide the small wound. Mirai follows the advice. The next day in the office, everyone notices the change in her appearance, including Kyung-nam, who quietly smiles when he sees it. Meanwhile, Miss Yoon is still upset about what happened that night. She sends her assistant out of the room after realizing that the gifts from Hwani were actually meant for the assistant, not for her. Later in the office, Mireille and Kyung-nam are the only ones left working. The weather becomes cold, so Mireille starts feeling chilly. Kyung-nam brings a heater from the storeroom to help. They sit together and drink coffee. Mireille mentions that she saw the photos from their trip and felt jealous because she had to return early due to Miss Yoon. After finishing their work, they both head home. Kyung-nam smiles when he looks at the small toy Mireille always keeps with her. At the same time, Mireille receives pictures that Young took during their time together, along with a message saying that he likes her. When she opens the DU app that allows her to date a virtual boyfriend, she also finds a video message from Young where he says that he tried to forget her but cannot, and that he misses her. While riding the metro, Mireille checks the rankings and sees that the webtoon The Man to Know has dropped from first place to second. She also notices many negative reviews online. When she reaches the office, her colleagues try to cheer her up because of the criticism. The director calls her in and asks what solution she has for this problem. He tells her to bring Miss Yun back on track so the sales do not fall further. The director also blames Mireille for what happened and warns her that if the situation does not improve, he will end her contract. The next day, Mireille meets Miss Yoon to fix things. After several arguments, she finally convinces her that the company will invest more in her project so she can return to the top ranking again. At the same time, Kyung-nam is with Hwani, who proudly talks about his ranking and shares how he built his success. Later, Mireille takes Miss Yoon to a nearby restaurant, but surprisingly, Kyung-nam and Hwani are also there. Miss Yoon tries to leave, but her assistant suddenly appears and Hwani becomes very polite and offers to pay for their lunch. Hwani argues with Miss Yoon and tells her to treat her assistant better. Miss Yoon insists that things will only happen on her terms, and Hwani finally agrees. They all end up sharing the meal and the atmosphere becomes lighter. Afterward, Miss Yoon jokingly tells Hwani and her assistant to spend time together and enjoy themselves more. While walking back, Mireille and Kyung-nam talk alone. Mireille admits that she lied earlier about having a boyfriend. Hearing this makes Kyung-nam happy. The story continues as Kyung-nam tries to confess his feelings to Mireille, but at that exact moment, Hwani calls them back, interrupting the moment. Later, back at home, another argument happens between Hwani and Miss Yoon. During the discussion, Miss Yoon notices a drawing and asks who made it. Mireille is surprised to learn that the drawing was made by Kyung-nam, which amazes her because she has always admired artists. Soon after, Mireille is seen walking alone, lost in her thoughts as she feels confused about her feelings for Young and Kyung-nam. The next scene shows Mireille and Kyung-nam entering the company together and sharing a few small but sweet moments. Kyung-nam also tells her that the small toy she chose from the Santa gifts earlier was actually from him. Later that night, Mireille even receives a goodnight message from Kyung-nam, which surprises her so much that she cannot sleep properly. The next day, Mireille remembers that Kyung-nam liked her bangs, so she tries to fix them again. When that does not work properly, she even puts on some makeup. Her office colleagues quickly notice the change and start asking why she suddenly looks different. Around the same time, she learns that Kyung-nam's work is getting adapted into a game by the DU company, which is the same company that created the Boyfriend on Demand app she has been using. Later, Mireille and Miss Yoon are working together, but both of them seem distracted in their own thoughts. Mireille keeps thinking about Kyung-nam's project with the DU company and eventually asks Miss Yoon to focus so they can work properly on their own story. After work, Mireille and Kyung-nam leave the office at the same time and decide to take the subway, but Mireille becomes nervous and tries to avoid him by getting on the wrong bus. Meanwhile, Mireille's friend Jo Yeon is also shown enjoying her own virtual dating experience through the Boyfriend on Demand app. Back at the office, everyone is discussing their holiday plans for Christmas. Mireille says she will stay and wait for Miss Yeon's story to be uploaded that night. She works late, and Kyung-nam is also still there. When she asks why he is staying so late, she learns that he does not really have a reason to be there and may have stayed just for her. Later, she discovers that Kyung-nam decorated the Christmas tree for her and even brought a cake. Mireille thanks him for his effort. Before leaving, Kyung-nam gives her a card. She opens it after reaching home and sees that he has invited her to dinner. Feeling confused, Mirai compares the card from Yong with the one from Kyeongnam. Later, she meets Yong in the virtual world and notices that he is acting a little strange. Yong tells her that he already confessed that he likes her, but he has not seen any positive response from her and is worried that she might leave him. Mirai admits that the more she meets Yong, the more she finds herself thinking about someone else. Yong promises that even if she changes, he will never change or hurt her. The scene then shifts back to the office where Kyeongnam tries to talk to Mirai, but she asks him to stop doing this everywhere. Soon they begin arguing over a character style that Kyeongnam suggested for their project. Mirai firmly says she does not like it and will not change her mind. Later, Mirai realizes that she may be pushing Kyeongnam away because she fears he might change like her ex once did. She decides that keeping distance from him might be the safest choice. At the office, they begin avoiding each other, and time passes with both of them ignoring one another. However, one stormy night they end up sharing a cab. When Mirai gets out of the car, Kyeongnam offers her his umbrella, but she refuses. In that emotional moment, they finally speak honestly about their feelings, and Kyeongnam ends up kissing Mirai. Before leaving, he hands her tickets for an exhibition, hoping she will make it. The next day, they are together again, enjoying their newly formed bond. They watch movies, eat together, and savor every moment, their love growing stronger with each passing day. Meanwhile, Miss Yun's assistant is shocked reading the next part of the story, and Mirai's friend is dating multiple people in the virtual world. Surprisingly, Mirai's reviews are also trending on social media. Back in the office, Mirai and Kyeongnam try their best to hide their relationship from colleagues. Mirai meets Miss Yun and suggests she get more creative so her contract can be renewed for the next year. Later, Mirai is with Kyeongnam, and just like in the virtual world with Yong, he asks if he can draw her picture, and she agrees. Meanwhile, Miss Yun struggles to create a character for her story and switches to the DU app to think creatively. There, she talks to her virtual boyfriend about her career challenges, and he advises her to put herself first. They end the day with a lovely dinner date together. The office team goes out for drinks, and Kyeongnam is dragged along. Drunk, he heads back to the office expecting Mirai to be alone, but to his surprise, other people are still there. Finally, they both get a chance to leave and go home. Mirai is happy to see that Miss Yun's story is back at #1 and eagerly informs her. Meanwhile, Hwani is stressed about ranking lower than Miss Yun. Later, Mirai meets Kyeongnam at her place, and they enjoy their time together. The next day at DU Company, there is a discussion about Lee Ji-yoon's popular reviews. Many women are finding it difficult to navigate the app because Lee Ji-yoon keeps going on new dates in different roles. She has met 200 virtual boyfriends in 2 months, and her reviews are affecting the app negatively. Later, Kyeongnam gives Mirai a book, and when she opens it, she finds her own drawings inside. At the same time, an article grabs everyone's attention, claiming that Man to Know has been accused of plagiarizing Boyfriend on Demand. Many readers notice that the new chef character is very similar to one in BOD. Everyone tries to contact Miss Yun, but she is unreachable. Mirai goes to see Miss Yun, but she is at home as well. She decides to check the office for clues and asks Kyeongnam to bring some files on a USB from Miss Yun's home while she waits. While waiting, Mirai notices the Boyfriend on Demand app in Miss Yun's room and remembers that Kyeongnam is at her home. Realizing Miss Yun was also using the app, she panics, worried that Kyeongnam might see her own subscription on her laptop. She quickly grabs her coat, catches a taxi, and returns home. Kyeongnam opens the laptop and sees some files and reviews. Back at her apartment, Mirai feels worried but is relieved to see Kyeongnam cleaning the place, which makes her feel relaxed. As she falls asleep, he notices the picture Yong had sent her, expressing that he liked her, along with the video where he admits his feelings. The scene then shifts to Yong, who meets Mirai, but the character suddenly changes to Kyeongnam, showing that he is now using the app to continue the story from where she left off. The story continues with Kyeongnam taking Mirai to a place she had previously experienced with Yong. Startled, Mirai wakes up, realizing it was a dream. She notices that Kyeongnam is silent, lost in his thoughts about everything he saw but could not fully experience because the subscription had ended. He does not say anything, tries to act normal, and decides to leave for home. Meanwhile, Mirai receives messages from Yong asking why she left early. She understands everything and explains the situation to Kyeongnam, but he is unable to express his feelings. Mirai puts the Boyfriend on Demand app back on and renews her subscription to meet Yang again. After talking to him, she realizes she has already finished her part in Yang's life, and Yang knows it too. Back in the real world, Yang informs her that Miss Yun has returned to the company to confront the director because she knew her contract was at risk. Everyone at the office is shocked to see her. Mirai arrives and witnesses the drama between the director and Miss Yun, who leaves the company angrily carrying her character poster. This drama leaves Mirai feeling a little hurt. Later, she gets into the lift with Kyung-nam and tries to talk about what happened last night, but he assures her that everything is fine. As she places her hands on his cheeks, he recalls a similar moment from the past, and Mirai begins to worry that Kyung-nam might not love her anymore, feeling as if her messages are being ignored. She also remembers the crazy relationship advice her friend used to give her. Meanwhile, Hwani notices Kyung-nam acting moody and asks him why. Kyung-nam tries to ignore it, but Hwani tells him he knows Kyung-nam is having feelings for Mirai and that what he's experiencing is normal because everyone goes through this. Back at home, Mirai is desperate for a text from Kyung-nam. She tries calling him but remembers her friend's advice to act cool. She also recalls how in the virtual world, Yang told her that even if Kyung-nam avoids her, he will always be there for her. Despite this, she continues to get cold replies from Kyung-nam. The scene shifts to Miss Yun, who tries to sell her Boyfriend on Demand subscription, but changes her mind at the last moment because she enjoys her virtual date. She is then seen happily enjoying her date at home. Back at the office, the director meets with Mirai to discuss keeping Miss Yun's story on hold. After the meeting, everyone, including Mirai and Kyung-nam, leaves early. Both of them think the other is trying to reach first and are waiting for one another. Mirai considers canceling her subscription, but remembers that Yang had offered to help her if things didn't go as planned, so she decides to hold off. Mirai enters the virtual world again and tells Yang how Kyung-nam is ignoring her and how obsessed she has become with him. Yang tells her to show up boldly like she never has before. She follows his advice, but to her surprise, Kyung-nam does the same and somehow ignores her. Both of them are preparing for an interview in the real world. Back in the virtual world, Mirai tells Yang that the plan didn't work, and he suggests she act even more heartless next time. At the office, Mirai helps a colleague by removing a bug from their shirt, shocking everyone around. Later, Kyung-nam joins a meeting where an employee from DU Company explains that tailored characters in the Boyfriend on Demand app are based on a client's ideal type, but there is no guaranteed future with them. On the way home, Hwani mentions he thinks Mirai might be using the app. Kyung-nam asks how he would feel if someone looked exactly like him, and Hwani says he would love it since he would be her ideal. Hearing this, Kyung-nam quickly drops Hwani off and rushes to meet Mirai. Fortunately, he finds her, and everything between them returns to normal. Meanwhile, Ji-yeon is meeting with DU Company representatives about the reviews she writes. One of the male members starts liking her and shows interest, hinting that they might have a real chance to meet in the future. At the office, the director introduces Mirai to a new romance writer she will be managing. Later, Mirai and Kyung-nam meet alone in the storage room. Just as they get too close, an office employee suddenly opens the door. Mirai pushes Kyung-nam behind her and he gets hurt. Hwani takes him to the hospital while Mirai rushes there, crying and fearing that their love story might not have a happy ending. When she sees Kyung-nam, she cries loudly, and although the employee notices, all she cares about is him. They comfort each other and talk with love and care. Back at the company, everyone gathers as the director announces he is leaving for the USA. He mentions that he heard rumors about Mirai and Kyung-nam being together, which he thinks is not true because he believes they hate each other. While everyone is celebrating, Miss Yoon arrives and gifts the director a cup. Seeing this, the director calls her the biggest star of his company, and everyone enjoys the moment with drinks and laughter. Finally, Mirai logs into the app one last time to say goodbye to Young and officially part ways. The system asks if she wants to end things with Yang, and she chooses yes, wishing him well. Back in the real world, Mirai is with Kyung-nam, living every moment of their love life and realizing how valuable their relationship is. The story ends happily.